Assalamualaikum students. Today we are going to solve exercise 2.3 of our chapter number 2, logarithms. And today we'll see how we can find the log of any number. Basically, for to solve exercise 2.3, what you have to keep in your mind is the log of any two number is actually the combination of characteristics plus Mantissa. I know these terminologies are different for you, so I'll definitely explain it for you. So basically, I just wrote if you want to find the log of any number, so it would be the combination of the characteristics and the mantissa. Okay, there would be a two part of the log of any kind of number. So what characteristics is actually characteristics? You can define it like this. If you write a number in a scientific notation, so आप उसको number को 10 की power में लिखते हो, तो 10 की जो भी power होगी, that would be your characteristics. And mantissa, in easy wording, you can say it's actually the coefficient or a decimal part of a number in a scientific notation. Okay, so let's see an example so that you can better understand it what I am saying right now. So let me just write an example over here. So for example, you have a number 5287 and you need to find the characteristics of this number. So what you have to do is over here first write this number in a scientific notation, and the first step is you need to put a point, and the criteria to put a point between number is first you need to figure out which one is the non-zero digit over here, the first non-zero digit, which is 5 over here, so we'll put point after 5, right? So we can write it like this: 5.287. Now it's time to figure out what could be the power of 10 over here. So see, after point there are 3 digits, so 10 की power आपके पास यहाँ पे क्या होगी? 3 होगी, right? So here, see, the power of 10 is 3, so the characteristics of this number would be 3 equals to 3. That's how you'll find the characteristics of number. Okay, so question number 1 is basically about this. There are different kind of numbers given and you need to find the characteristics. First you need to write the number in a scientific notation and just figure out the power of the 10, and the power of 10 will basically will be your characteristics. Okay, here is question number 1, in which you need to find the characteristic of the following number. There are 6 parts in total, and I believe now you can find it because it's very simple. As we just solved an example, first you need to write the number in a scientific notation, and you can do it in your workbook section on the right hand side, and just find out what's the power of the 10, and that would be your characteristic. Just like the power of 10 over here is 1, so the characteristics of this number 59.28 will be 1, right? So just write the number in a scientific notation and find the power of 10, and the power of 10 will be your characteristics. That's how you're going to solve question number 1 of exercise 2.3. Okay, so it's very easy. Now let's move forward. Question number 2, which is about the about to find the logarithm of a number. Okay, this is an interesting part actually of this exercise. So question number 2 is basically about the log. We have to find the log, right? So for example, the first part is 43, and I told you, remember when I started a lecture, that the log of any number is basically the combination of characteristics plus mantissa, right? And now we'll find these two individually and we'll add it and we'll get the log of this given number. Okay, so now you can find the characteristics of a number 43, right? So how we'll find it? Let me do it over here. So I can write 43 in a scientific notation like this: 4.3 multiply 10 to raised to the power 1, right? So the characteristics would be 1. Okay, so this is actually my rough work. You don't need to include this step in your solution. Okay, so you'll write your solution of this question like this: log 43 equals characteristics is 1, so 1 plus. Now it's time to find out the mantissa of a number. So for to find out the mantissa, we need to look into the table of logarithm, which you can find in the end of your textbook. So here is the logarithm table, and let me tell you how you can read it. So the number is actually given, the question is 43. So the first two digit of the number you are interested in is actually will lie in this column, the first column. Okay, so here just 43 is given, so just find out where 43 is in this column. So let me scroll down and you'll see this is your 43, right? This is 43. And now if you see after 43 there is no number, right? So we can consider it as 0. So if I scroll up this table, तो आप देखोगे कि the second column is actually 0 and then 1 and 2 3 up to so on 9. Okay, so आपने क्या करना है to find out the mantissa for 43? Just simply 43 को आपने 0 पे देखना है, ठीक है? This is 43 और 43 0 पे उसकी क्या वैल्यू आ रही है? दिस एक्चुअली इज द वैल्यू, ठीक है? दिस इज योर मैंटिसा विच यू विल राइट इन द फॉर्म ऑफ डेसिमल, बिकॉज आई टोल्ड यू कि जो मैंटिसा है दैट इज बेसिकली द पार्ट ऑफ द डेसिमल पार्ट ऑफ योर साइंटिफिक नंबर. सो विल राइट दिस नंबर इन decimal, like we can write it like this: 0.6335, right? So let's write our mantissa, which is 0.6335. Okay, so just by adding these two numbers, we'll get the log of 43, which is 1.6335. Okay, I know it will be confusing for you but if you will practice it more and more, so it will become very easy and interesting. Okay, so let's solve another question. Let's see another part of this question. The second part is basically about to find a log of number 579. So now you know what is the first step. Solve it with me, okay? So the first step is you'll write log 579 equals, मिड में आप एडिशन का साइन लगाएंगे, यहाँ पे करेक्टरिस्टिक्स आएगा और यहाँ पे मैट्रिक्स, राइट? सो फर्स्ट आप 579 का करेक्टरिस्टिक्स अगर फाइंड करें, सो इट वुड बी 5.79 मल्टीप्लाई 10 पावर 2, right? So characteristics of this number would be 2. So I'll write 2 over here, right? And now I need to find out the mantissa for this number. So टेबल की तरफ चलते हैं. Here is your logarithm table. और नंबर हमारे पास जो गिवन है जिसका हमने mantissa फाइंड करना है, that number is 579, right? So मैंने आपसे कहा था कि जो फर्स्ट कॉलम है उसमें आपने फर्स्ट टू डिजिट्स फाइंड आउट करने होते हैं, which is 57 over here. So let's see where 57 is. Here it is, okay, right? So 57 is here. And after 57 there is a digit which is 9. तो अब आपने यहाँ पे देखना है इस रो में कि 9 कहाँ पे है. दिस इज 9, राइट? सो आपने अब 9 को डाउनवर्ड मूव करना है, 57 की रो में लेके आना है. तो आप यहाँ पे एक रूलर रख लो और यहाँ से इस तरफ मूव करो. तो आपके पास क्या नंबर आया यहाँ पे? 7627, राइट? एंड नाउ वी नीड टू राइट दिस नंबर इन decimal point. So we'll write it like this: 0.7627. See how easy it is. So simply we'll write 0.7627 over here, and after adding these two numbers, which is 2 plus 0.7267, we'll get 2.7627, and this is the log of 579. Okay, Now let's see another part of this question, which is 1.982. We need to find the log of this number. So we'll write it like this: log of 1.982 equals to. So first we need to write the characteristics and then a mantissa. And what would be the characteristics of this number? Yeah, it would be 0 because we are not moving the point. Point is already on its position, right? वो अपनी ही position पे पहले से ही है. We are not moving it, okay? So the characteristics over here is 0. Now we just need to find the mantissa of this number, which is 1982. So table की तरफ चलते हैं. Let me just write a number first, which is 1982. आपने 1982 का मैंटिसा फाइंड करना होगा, ठीक है। तो अब इसका क्या क्राइटेरिया है, सबसे पहले आपने क्या करना है, 19 वाले नंबर को देखना है इन द फर्स्ट कॉलम विच इज ओवर हेयर, राइट। फिर आपने नेक्स्ट डिजिट इज 8, 8 को आपने देखना है इस फर्स्ट टेबल में, ठीक है, और 8 इज ओवर हेयर, सो मूव डाउनवर्ड। अगर आप डाउनवर्ड मूव करते हैं तो और यहाँ पे आप 19 की रो में आते हैं, सो यू गेट 2967, राइट, 2967। सो अब आपने इसको यहाँ पे नोट कर लेना है 2967। अब आप नोटिस करो कि यहाँ पे 8 के बाद आपके पास एक 2 डिजिट भी है, ठीक है। अब ये वाला जो 2 डिजिट है, ठीक है, डिजिट 2, ये इसका क्या काम होगा, इसका सेकंड टेबल में हम इसको देखेंगे, ठीक है, सेम रो में 19 9। अब आपने पहले 19 को आपने 8 वाले कॉलम में देखा, ठीक है, तो ये वाले टेबल का काम खत्म। अब हम सेकंड वाले टेबल में विच इज दिस वन, इसमें हम डिफरेंस फाइंड करेंगे 19 का इन द कॉलम 2। तो अब कॉलम 2 इज ओवर हेयर, सो मूव डाउनवर्ड और आपने 19 की रो में आना है, ठीक है। सो हेयर 4, सो आपने जो आपके पास पहले आया था 2967, उसमें आपने 4 को ऐड कर देना है एंड यूल गेट 2971, राइट। और आपने इसको, ये मैंटिसा है तो आप इसको डेसिमल में लिखोगे which will be like this, 0.297, right? So this is how you find the number, the log of the mantissa of this number. So just simply write 0 was your characteristics and the mantissa is 0.2971. And if I add these two numbers, I'll get 0.2971, which is the log of 1.982. Okay. Now let's see question number 3, in which the log of one number is given, which is 3.177, and its log is given, which is 0.5019. Okay, and we need to find out the log of the similar number. Okay, so how we'll solve this question? It's very simple, and you can solve it without using a table of logarithm. Okay, so the first part given over here is log 3177. So if we want to find the log of this number, what we have to find out first the characteristics, right, and then a mantissa. So the characteristics of this number would be like this. I'm just using this space for my rough work. I'll write this number in a scientific notation. I'll write it like this: 3.177 multiply 10 raised to power 3, right? So the characteristics of this number will be 3 plus, and now this, after scientific notation, this number have become like this, 3.177, और यहाँ पे जो आपके पास क्वेश्चन में गिवन था नंबर, उसका जो log था वो भी इसी तरह का ही है। See, both numbers are similar, so their mantissa will also be similar, and the mantissa is a decimal part of a number, which is which starts from the point after point जो आपके पास होता है नंबर का पार्ट, that is called a mantissa, right? And जो point के left side पे नंबर होता है, that is your characteristics. So both numbers are same, so I can use this given mantissa over here also. So I'll write direct the mantissa, which is 0.5019, and simply by adding these two numbers we'll get 3.5019, the log of 3177, right? Now let's see the second part of this question, which says we need to find the log of 31.77. So first I need to write it in the scientific notation to find out the characteristics of this number. So I can write it like this: 3.177 multiply 10 raised to power 1, right? So the characteristics of this number would be 1 plus Now again, this number looks like exactly the same in our question, right? So we can use once again a mantissa of this given question. That would be 0.5019, and if I add these two numbers, we'll get 1.5019 as our log of this number. See how easy it is, right? And now let's see the third part of this question, which is to find out the log of 0.03177. First, I need to find out the characteristics of this number. So I'll write this number in a scientific notation, and I can write it like this, 3.177, right? So I'll shift this point over here after 3. So the power of 10 would be -2. So the characteristics of this number is -2, and we know that we can write it like this, 2 bar plus. Again, so the number look like exactly the same as our question, like which is this one, 3.177, right? This. And the mantissa, we can also use the same mantissa in the part 3 also. So I'll write over here 0.5019. And if I add these two numbers, we'll get 2.5019, a log of 0.03177. Okay, so I want you to practice this exercise, find the log of the numbers. It's very interesting. So just practice how you can read out the table. And if you have any question, do let me know in the comment section. Take care.